Breaking news has ignited a fresh media firestorm tonight after a high-profile commentary segment by Megyn Kelly sent shockwaves across social media and political talk shows, placing Meghan Markle back at the center of an intense and polarizing public debate. Within minutes of the segment airing, clips began circulating online, hashtags surged, and supporters and critics alike rushed to stake out their positions, turning what might have been another opinion monologue into a full-blown news event. The claims made during the broadcast were framed as revelations, but they also immediately raised questions about sourcing, verification, and the growing role of commentary platforms in shaping public narratives about well-known figures. Before we continue, please hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notification bell for updates. According to the segment, Kelly discussed what she described as previously overlooked information related to Meghan Markle's life before her entry into the royal family. Kelly asserted that she had reviewed material she characterized as travel records and financial claims tied to unnamed third-party sources, suggesting a pattern of luxury travel that she argued warranted renewed scrutiny. Throughout the segment, Kelly emphasized that mainstream outlets, in her view, had failed to ask hard questions in the past, positioning her commentary as a corrective to what she described as selective silence. The discussion quickly moved beyond general criticism into specific allegations, which Kelly framed as questions rather than established facts, but which nonetheless carried explosive implications. She referenced figures and numbers, including an alleged dollar amount and a claimed frequency of travel, stating that these details had circulated for years in online forums and private conversations but had rarely been addressed directly on major platforms. Kelly argued that the public deserved transparency and that the mere discomfort surrounding such topics should not automatically shield them from discussion. Within hours, media analysts began dissecting not only the substance of Kelly's claims but also the way they were presented. Some commentators noted that while Kelly repeatedly used qualifying language, the overall tone of the segment was assertive enough that many viewers interpreted the statements as confirmed facts rather than disputed allegations. This distinction became central to the backlash and the defense that followed, with critics accusing Kelly of blurring the line between commentary and reporting, and supporters arguing she was simply asking questions others were afraid to ask. Representatives for Meghan Markle did not immediately issue a formal response following the broadcast, but sources close to her camp have consistently denied similar claims in the past, characterizing them as recycled rumors rooted in misogyny and online conspiracy culture. Legal analysts speaking to several outlets noted that repeating unverified allegations about private conduct, even when couched as opinion, can carry reputational consequences, especially in the digital age where clips are often stripped of context and shared widely. As the story spread, major news organizations approached it cautiously, often leading their coverage with the reaction rather than the allegations themselves. Headlines focused on the controversy sparked by Kelly's remarks, the online response, and the broader debate over accountability in political and celebrity commentary. This framing reflected a growing awareness among editors that amplifying specific claims without independent verification could expose outlets to ethical and legal challenges. On social media, the reaction was swift and deeply divided. Supporters of Meghan Markle accused Kelly of targeting her for clicks and engagement, arguing that similar scrutiny is rarely applied to male public figures or to women without royal connections. They pointed to Meghan's long history of public scrutiny, stating that each new controversy follows a familiar pattern of sensational claims followed by limited evidence and prolonged online harassment. Conversely, Kelly's supporters praised her for what they described as courage and persistence, arguing that public figures who actively shape media narratives should expect rigorous examination of their past. They framed the segment as part of a larger reckoning with celebrity branding and image management, asserting that uncomfortable questions should not be dismissed solely because they provoke backlash. Media scholars observing the debate highlighted how the story illustrates a larger shift in the news ecosystem. Commentary-driven platforms now reach audiences comparable to traditional networks, yet they operate under different editorial standards. When claims are introduced on these platforms, even with disclaimers, they can quickly take on a life of their own, reshaped by algorithms and amplified by partisan audiences. Several journalists noted that the phrase "confirmed," used loosely in online discussions following the broadcast, was particularly misleading. Verification in journalism typically requires corroboration from multiple independent sources and documentary evidence that can be reviewed by editors and, when appropriate, by the public. At present, no mainstream investigative outlet has published independently verified findings supporting the specific numerical claims discussed in the segment. The controversy has also revived broader conversations about how women in the public eye are scrutinized, particularly regarding their personal lives before fame. Advocacy groups argued that the focus on alleged past associations reflects enduring double standards, where ambition and networking are reframed as moral failings when attached to certain narratives. They cautioned that repeating such claims, even indirectly, can reinforce harmful stereotypes. At the same time, defenders of open inquiry stressed that public figures who leverage personal stories to build brands cannot selectively shield parts of their history from discussion. They argued that transparency, even when uncomfortable, is a necessary part of public trust. This tension between accountability and privacy remains unresolved and continues to fuel passionate debate. As of now, the story exists primarily as a media controversy rather than a substantiated investigation. It is a case study in how quickly allegations can dominate headlines without formal reporting, driven by commentary, reaction, and the economics of attention. Whether the claims raised will prompt deeper journalistic inquiry or fade into the cycle of viral outrage remains to be seen. What is clear is that this episode underscores the importance of media literacy for audiences navigating an increasingly fragmented information landscape. Distinguishing between opinion, allegation, and verified fact has never been more critical, particularly when reputations and public trust are at stake. As this story continues to unfold, viewers are encouraged to seek out primary sources, read across the political spectrum, and pay close attention to language that signals uncertainty versus confirmation. The loudest voices are not always the most accurate, and the speed of the internet often outpaces the slower, more methodical process of verification. We will continue to monitor developments, including any formal responses, clarifications, or evidence presented by any party involved. If new, independently verified information emerges, it will fundamentally change the conversation.